this. It sounds like nobody in the league wants hard knocks.
And you see like the demands they're putting on their coaches and players over the course of the season through the offseason. They're not interested in it because there's already so much extra that they're going to be dealing with.
I know the title of this video might catch you off guard, particularly if you happen to be a fan of the New York Jets.
Mike, why is this a nightmare scenario for the New York Jets? They had a pretty good offseason. Well,
something that Aaron Rodgers didn't want to happen, something that could quite literally cripple a new team that's trying to establish chemistry with one another is about to happen to them. And we're going to break it all down for you guys in just a moment. Before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! The NFL and NBA season are officially over, and I need something to hold me over until at least the NFL season comes back. So I've been playing prize picks for the WNBA and the MLB, and I've been fairly successful. It's a good way to get some extra action on games that I wouldn't really watch otherwise. I post my picks onto my Instagram story daily, and I've been hitting on a decent amount of them. And right now, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, they'll double your deposit up to $100. Mike, check 1212. What's going on, everybody? The New York Jets have done a masterful job building this team. I mean, Joe Douglas deserves all the credit in the world, even before the Aaron Rodgers trade. What he did in the 2022 NFL draft was incredibly impressive. I don't remember the last time a general manager was able to draft both the offensive rookie of the year and the defensive rookie of the year in the same NFL draft. And that's before we mention how he drafted Breece Hall as well later on in the draft, who have unfortunately sustained a huge injury. But even furthermore, Garrett Wilson won Rookie of the Year despite not really having a quarterback throwing him the ball. No offense to Mike White, but the entire season was plagued by Zach Wilson drama. And once Zach Wilson came back, it was clear that this young man was not even close to being ready to be the quarterback of the future for the New York Jets. Now, there was a lot of explanations and reasons why. Typically, young developmental project quarterbacks don't really succeed with defensive-minded head coaches, so a lot of the responsibility of developing Zach Wilson fell on the shoulders of Mike LaFleur, who he himself admittedly said that he did a horrible job doing.
He's more than capable of getting it done, both physically, but probably more so mentally. He's on top of his stuff, even when he wasn't dressing. He's always been on it. He's always going to be within the game plan, and he's going to get his op on Sunday to lead this team.
Eventually, it became very clear to the New York Jets, when you're a young team that drafted incredibly well, and all of your players, your best players, happen to be on rookie scale contracts, you really don't have any time that you could afford to waste. The New York Jets now officially have a brief Super Bowl window. Typically, a Super Bowl window is as a result of a team nailing their drafting of a quarterback and wanting to make the most out of his rookie scale contract. Teams that are currently in this process are the LA Chargers with Justin Herbert, and they decided to surround him with incredible defensive and offensive talent, trading for Khalil Mack last offseason, extending Derwin James, signing JC Jackson last offseason. But even furthermore this offseason, when they decided to extend Mike Williams and draft Quentin Johnson offensively. Although that hasn't necessarily worked out for the Chargers, another team that is currently in this situation is the Miami Dolphins with Tua. They got him a head coach that works perfectly with his skill set, traded for Tyreek Hill, drafted Jalen Waddle, and in the past year alone, traded for Bradley Chubb and Jalen Ramsey this past offseason to pair with Xavier Howard. This is as a result of the quarterback being on a rookie scale contract. The final example is obviously Jalen Hurts, who was on a rookie scale contract when the Philadelphia Eagles decided to trade for AJ Brown, draft Devontae Smith, and aggressively build their defense. What's unique about the New York Jets is they did something that was significantly more difficult. They built the core of their team on the back of really good rookies, and the only thing that they seem to be missing is a quarterback. And they finally resolved that this past offseason, and they were able to swing a trade for Aaron Rodgers, swapping first-round picks with the Packers and also giving a second-round pick and a conditional second-round pick and a sixth-round pick to the Packers in return for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is up there in age, so it's really Super Bowl or bust for the Jets right now, and maybe along the way, Aaron Rodgers could help Zach Wilson develop because, well, Zach Wilson's favorite player ever is Aaron Rodgers. So why am I giving you this summary? You probably knew all of this. Well, if there's one team that can't afford distractions as they're trying to build chemistry and familiarity with one another, it's the New York Jets. And what is the biggest distraction that a team can ever have in the offseason? Ladies and gentlemen, what about cameras following you around everywhere and just digging into the storyline of your team? In order to be featured on HBO's Hard Knocks, there are a few rules that a team needs to follow. The team can't have a first-year head coach, the team cannot have been featured on Hard Knocks over the past decade, and the team cannot have made the playoffs in the past 2 seasons. And there are only 4 teams that qualify for these stipulations: the Chicago Bears, the New Orleans Saints, the Washington Commanders, and the New York Jets. Typically, we find out who's going to be on Hard Knocks in maybe March of that year, but this year, we haven't gotten an announcement yet. And Hard Knocks typically starts in about a month from now, so what is going on? Well, none of those teams want to be on Hard Knocks. And we all know which one of those teams would be the most entertaining to be on Hard Knocks. It would probably be the team that just traded for Aaron Rodgers, brought in Alan Lazard, currently has a contract dispute with one of their best defensive players, has the defending defensive rookie of the year who recently rizzed up Jessica Alba, kind of, on Twitter. Yeah, it looks like Baby Gronk let Sauce Gardner have that one. A team that is just a few months removed from Zach Wilson drama. It's the New York Jets. I mean, we've seen Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show repeatedly, and it's been so entertaining each and every time. You've had great Aaron Rodgers interviews for the past 3 seasons, whether it's in regards to his immunization, him talking about his ayahuasca experiences, him quite literally bringing out his toe to show it to the interviewer. I mean, the man makes for very entertaining television. I don't necessarily blame HBO for forcing the New York Jets to potentially do this. Now, you might be thinking,
Mike, you're speculating.
no, I'm not. According to Mike Florio, the New York Jets are bracing for an involuntary Hard Knocks assignment. So this is what the article has to say. The NFL will not be listening to the preferences of the head coach of the New York Jets. Per a league source, the Jets are bracing for the preseason Hard Knocks assignment, despite making it known publicly and privately their lack of interest in serving as the focal point of this year's show. The Jets, Saints, Bears, and Commanders fit the criteria for being required to do the show in the 2023 preseason. Under a formula developed several years ago, the teams that can be compelled to do it include those without a new head coach, those who have not been to the playoffs in either of the last 2 years, and those who have not been the subject of the show for the last 10 years. Jets, Saints, and Bears have made it clear that they don't want to do it this year. Commanders, we're told, would do it if assigned, although the league prefers to wait until after the sale of the team is finalized, and that the Commanders could be this year's in-season option. The Lions were approached about a second straight appearance. They declined, and the Jets technically can't decline, although the NFL typically does not make a team submit to Hard Knocks when it doesn't want to, unless you could drive in really good ratings with the New York Jets. I'm gonna be honest, there are some off seasons that I watch Hard Knocks, and there are some training camps that I completely skip it. Hell, my Dallas Cowboys were on it 2 years ago, and that wasn't nearly as interesting of a Hard Knocks. It's just there's some off seasons where there's compelling storylines that you really want to follow, and then there are some off seasons where the storylines are very meh and very boring. And the Jets have the formula to make a very compelling Hard Knocks. Now, you might be wondering why they wouldn't want to be on it. Well, historically, teams that go on Hard Knocks don't necessarily end up faring so well in the regular season. I mean, last year, the Detroit Lions came within a game of making it into the playoffs, and to be honest, I think Hard Knocks did them a huge favor because a lot of fans became Detroit Lions fans to some extent as a result of just seeing how awesome Dan Campbell was, how much heart the team had. You really got to see what this team was about and how unique the development of their team truly was. In 2020, the Rams went 10-6 and the Chargers went 7-9. In 2019, the Raiders went 7-9. In 2018, the Browns went 7-8-1. In 2017, the Bucks went 5-11. In 2016, the Rams went 4-12. In 2015, the Texans went 9-7. In 2014, the Atlanta Falcons went 6-10. Now, in 2013, the Bengals were able to win their division, but more often than not, at least recently, you could tell that most teams don't really have a lot of regular season success when they're on Hard Knocks. Now, whether that's a coincidence or as a result of the formula that they created to make sure contending teams don't get distracted by Hard Knocks is a different story. And even better would be the fact that you would probably get some attitude from all the New York Jets from the fact that they're pissed off about being on Hard Knocks to begin with. So be prepared because this is a nightmare scenario for the New York Jets, but it's a dream scenario for NFL fans. And for all you know, they could end up having a good season. But regardless, brace yourselves, because the New York Jets definitely are bracing themselves, because out of the Chicago Bears, New Orleans Saints, Washington Commanders, and New York Jets, what team would you actually tune in to watch on Hard Knocks this year? The answer is simple. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.